Alright, so now here in my Ableton set, I have my 4 example songs in order. They are all in the correct key. I use the complex engine on all of them. I've listened to them, they all sound great, and I consolidated them all with Command J. Alright, so now it's time to do what I just kind of call, think of it like populating our template. Okay, so whenever you open Ableton, these top white tracks, they just show up by default. It's part of our built-in template. And so the reason why I call them top layer tracks is because all 4 of these songs have some tracks in common. They all have song and markers tracks. They all have slide tracks for our MIDI notes to ProPresenter. They all have a guide track, and they all have an MP3 with them. And so even though I only have 4 songs in this example, there's no reason to have 4 different MP3 tracks. There's no reason that I need to have 4 separate guide tracks. I can just put them all in the same one. So what I'm going to do is we can just move stuff from our individual songs that we imported, and we'll just put them in these top layer template tracks. So let's just start with our song and our markers clips for Glorious Day. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select our song clip, which is this, it's the same length as the whole duration of Glorious Day. So I'm going to select that, hold down Shift, and then click just on one of your markers clips. And because our song clip is the entire duration of Glorious Day, it will select the entire duration for our markers clips. Okay, so now you can click and drag both of those up into song and markers. I'm going to do the same things for slides, move that one up. We all have a tempo, they all share an MP3, and they all share a guide. Okay, so now I'm left with some of these, the old tracks. And so I'm going to select all of them, but I don't want to delete foundations. So you can select your old song, hold down Shift, go all the way down. This happens to be a random aux cues track. If you hold Command and then you click on foundations, it will deselect foundations from your highlight selection. You can just hit delete, and it will delete those old tracks. So now what I'm going to do is click foundations for Glorious Day, hold down Shift, go to background vocals, and we're going to group these tracks. And so how we're going to do that is Command G. So that creates an Ableton group. And I want to relabel this group with Command R, and I'm going to label it Glorious Day, and I'm going to put E. That way, when it's all folded up like this, I can still very quickly visualize that this song is in the key of E. It's very helpful to have that information. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and look at our plan on Planning Center. So we'll end Glorious Day, and there's going to be a welcome. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to start I Can't Believe underneath the welcome. So what I'm going to need to do is to move I Can't Believe over. So I'm going to select our top song clip, Shift, grab our very bottom one, and I'm just going to move them over. And they are going to overlap a little bit. Just kind of get it in the ballpark, and then you can listen to it and just see what it sounds like.
1, 2, intro.
Okay, so I wouldn't mind if it was a little bit further back. I'm also going to cut off our foundations click track for Glorious Day right after the music ends. So what that means is I'm just going to drag this back to measure 118. Maybe even just a little bit more. And obviously there's no necessarily right or wrong way to do this. You just have to listen to every transition. Make sure it's smooth. Make sure you account for like this trash can on Glorious Day. And just make sure that it's going to sound good.
1, 2, intro, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, I'm going to put it here and I'm going to call it good. So one thing I'm going to want to do is since I Can't Believe starts on measure 121, beat 2, I'm going to right click up here, insert time signature change. Since it's still in 4/4, you can just hit enter. So what that does is that puts a new downbeat for us, make sure everything is lined up. So now we can just do the same thing. I'm going to select our song clip, shift to grab our markers. And actually, in this instance, you can shift grab all of these and drag them all up in one fell swoop. Now I'm going to go ahead, select all of my old tracks, delete them, and I'm going to put I Can't Believe in a folder, or I'm sorry, in a group with Command G, Command R, I Can't Believe in D flat. Alright, so now that there's a transition between our first song and our second song, they're in separate groups. That's just the process I would continue for the rest of my songs.